Thank you for joining my very first webinar in 2013. And in this webinar, we're going to be talking about upgrading to WordPress 3.5. I am recording this, so if there aren't any technical difficulties from here on out, you will get a replay. And I'll also throw in a couple other things too, like a mind map and the presentation and stuff like that. So it's going to be well worth your time. I do want to tell you that I'm going to try to keep these webinars to under 1 hour, preferably 30 to 45 minutes, because if you're like me, you have other things to do and you don't want to be on webinars all day, and you want to actually learn something and then go out and apply it. So that said, this webinar is about how to prepare for and perform an upgrade in WordPress for virtually any version, but we're talking specifically about 3.5 because that's the newest version. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. Who's this Bill Davis guy, and why should you be listening to him? Well, back in 1996, I started web development as part of my consulting business. I was a technology consultant for small businesses and helped them automate their back office and set up servers and stuff like that. And they assumed that I knew how to create web pages because, you know, the web was brand new and I was the guy behind the keyboard. So, of course, I didn't know how to write web pages, and I promptly learned. And I did that for about 5 years full-time, developing client websites and that kind of thing. In 2001, I kind of got the internet marketing bug long before many people even knew what that was. But I kind of dabbled in it for a few years, and I didn't get real serious about it until 2008 when I started my current company, which is called Internet Marketing Muscle. And that's when I got back into helping businesses with their web presence and getting them involved in social media and website development and blogging and all that kind of stuff. In 2011, with a friend of mine, we put together a series of 43 videos on basically how to do virtually everything in WordPress. And we called it the Ultimate Guide to WordPress. And it basically showed you how to install, set up, configure, run, operate, update, and back up your WordPress websites. And I do all of my development now in WordPress because it's pretty simple, it's quick to deploy, and I really, really like it. It's very robust. In 2011 also, I was approached by Will Matos of Rapid Crush, and if you don't know, Rapid Crush is actually a company that was built by Jason Fladlin and Will Matos. And Will came to me and said, you know, I really liked what you did with the Ultimate Guide to WordPress videos. Could you do something like that for us about WordPress security? We could do it, but we just don't have the time or the, you know, the wherewithal to do it. So could you do it for us? And I did that for them, and it did quite well and got a lot of good reviews. So that's kind of my background in WordPress and internet marketing. And so now let's just dive right in. Whenever I do anything IT related, information technology related, I like to be prepared. And part of that preparation, the biggest part of that preparation, is always making a backup. And in WordPress, you can do it in 3 basic ways. You can do a manual backup, which entails you having to know what files and folders are important to copy, as well as how to copy your database. WordPress, oftentimes people think that if they back up the files and folders in their cPanel with their web host, that they're safe. But if you lose your database, you pretty much lose all your content. So you can do it manually, which I don't recommend. I do recommend you try it just to see how it works and that kind of thing. But you'll learn very quickly that you really don't want to do it that way because it's fraught with errors and it takes a lot longer time. You can also use a plugin such as Backup Buddy, which I've used in the past, and it works really well. There is one small drawback to it, and that is if your WordPress installation, you know, gets corrupt or crashes for whatever reason, your plugin, you may not even be able to log in to get a backup done with Backup Buddy. So what I like to use is I like to use a script, a PHP script called WP Twin, and that was actually developed by RapidCrush long before I had any association or involvement with them. And I bought it way back when, and truth be told, I use this tool every single day, multiple times a day. I use it not only on my own personal sites, but on my client sites, and I also use it to clone websites. And it comes with my highest recommendation. And that's a link right there to WP Twin. And I'm going to tell you right now that any links I have in this presentation are either to my own websites or to affiliate websites. So if you buy something here, I will get a small commission, just FYI. I'm not pitching anything here, but I will tell you that I use WP Twin probably more than any other tool or plugin or utility of all the ones that I use. Okay, it's very important that once you do make a backup, that you check your backup, because oftentimes your backup, I shouldn't say oftentimes, on occasion, your backup will even be corrupt. And now I haven't seen this with WP Twin, but I've experienced this in the IT world. I spent 20 years in the corporate IT world, and I've seen many backups go awry because somebody didn't check the backup, and that somebody sometimes was me. And you go to restore the backup, and it doesn't work either. You can go to your cPanel and create a new installation on WordPress in a subfolder and install WordPress on it, and then try to use WP Twin or your Backup Buddy backup on that kind of throwaway subdomain. And if it works there, odds are it's going to work when you actually need to restore it on your main website. So I'm just going to show you real quickly how WP Twin works. This is not going to be a comprehensive tutorial, but I'll just show you how simple it is. All you really need is access to your FTP, which I use FileZilla, and you need, wrong folder. You need one file, and the file you need is WP Twin. You drag that over here, and I've set up a sample website to show you. And this is my demosite101.com/demo website. I'm logged in. You can see here that this website is on WordPress 3.2.1. I'm going to make a backup of this right before we go into upgrading. Okay, so I need to make a pretty big jump from 3.2.1 to 3.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a backup. And the way you do that is in your URL, you type in wptwin.php, like that. Make sure that the file got uploaded to your FTP. And here it is right here. And then simply press Enter in your browser, and then click the button that says Click to Clone. Website to seconds, well, maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, it's done. Now you click on the link that says Download. And after that, you can click on Delete this clone, but I'll show you that it's actually on your web server right here. So we have a website. I'm not going to go check it because I've already done this once today. I know it works. So we can delete this clone, and it's actually on our hard drive here locally. Okay. So then you can go back to your dashboard like this, and there's a couple places where you're going to see that updates need to be made. What we're concentrating on right now is your update to WordPress 3.5. Okay, but there are 4 updates in total, and I can tell you right now without even looking that one is for WordPress, one is for a plugin right here, and I'm betting the other 2 are for themes. So if I go here to updates, I can see that I have one plugin that needs updating and 2 themes that need updating. Now, I'm not using these themes, so I don't really need to update them, but I always make sure that my themes and plugins are updated just as kind of a general rule. So what I can do is I can either download the files here or I can update now. If I download the files here, I'm going to be doing a manual upgrade. I don't want to do that. I actually want to do the update now upgrade. Before we do that, we want to check our plugins for compatibility. And the way we do that is we go to WordPress.org right here and go to the plugins tab. And let's say I have like an FB Facebook comment plugin, like this one. Let's say I have that installed on my WordPress website already. Now what I want to check for is I want to check to make sure that this is compatible with 3.5. If it's not, I may consider disabling or deactivating that plugin before I do the update, then do the update, then re-enable my plugin. Okay, so let's go take a look. I'm going to show you right now how to check to see if your plugins are compatible with the version that you're going to upgrade to. So if I click on the link, I can see right over here that this says compatible up to 3.1.4. That's not good. So if I actually had this plugin installed on this website, I would do something like this. So let's just assume that this Akismet is not compatible. I would just, it's deactivated right now. What I would do is I would deactivate it, like so, and then I would do my update. Okay. You may want to consider deactivating all of your plugins after you make your backup, and then do the update, and then re-enable your plugins. That's a really safe way to go. But I actually am a little bit impatient, and I figure that if I make a backup with WP Twin and I test it and make sure that it works, I'm very confident that I can just do the update. 99.9% of the time it will succeed. In the 0.01 times where it doesn't, or the 0.1 times where it doesn't, I can then just restore from backup and then do this quote-unquote the right way. Additionally, I want you to make note of, if you have a custom theme, you'll want to, and hopefully you've already done this, but you'll want to make a copy of that custom theme, all of the files and all of the folders that are contained therein. Because oftentimes if you've updated or modified your theme and then you upgrade, that will go through just fine, but if you ever have to like reinstall WordPress or something using a theme that you had modified, you may run into problems where your modifications get overwritten. Just FYI. So just make a copy of those theme files. As I alluded to before, performing the actual upgrade is pretty straightforward. There are 3 ways. There's the manual way, which I've already said I don't recommend, because it's fraught with, you can make errors. You can forget to, do certain steps, or you can use cPanel, and I'll show you what that looks like. Most web hosts that have a cPanel use one of 2 installation scripts, either Fantastico or Simple Scripts, to install WordPress. And I'll show you what Fantastico looks like. So this is inside my control panel in my WordPress, on my WordPress link here. These are all the websites that I've got installed, that I've had installed with Fantastico. And you'll notice that even though I've upgraded most of these websites to 3.5, Fantastico doesn't do a very good job of tracking that I've upgraded. What it really is doing is reporting here the version of WordPress that I installed originally using Fantastico. So it's not a very good indicator of what's actually on the site. So for example, the website I'm demoing right now is this one, and it says 3.1, but if you go here, you'll notice that we're on 3.2.1, different version altogether. So Fantastico doesn't really help you. So if your web host has Fantastico only, your only two options are to do a manual upgrade or to do an upgrade via the dashboard. If, however, you're using simple scripts, it will actually allow you to do the upgrade, but in batch, meaning let's say you have 10 add-on domains under your primary domain. So you have, you have 10 different URLs, 10 different WordPress installations. All are at, say, 3.4. You want to upgrade them to 3.5. You can do it in one fell swoop with simple scripts. I don't recommend that. It usually works, but in the rare occasion where it doesn't work and you have, let's say, 3 failures out of 10, things start to get confusing, and at least for me, maybe it's my shortcoming. I tend to get frazzled when more than one thing goes wrong at a time. Lord knows how I have 3 kids now, so I don't know how that's going to work out. The recommended way that I suggest you do this is through the WordPress dashboard, just like we're showing you right here. So I would click on this link here and do the upgrade or do the update through this button. There's always 3 or 4 ways to do things in WordPress. But let's just go take a look at WordPress 3.5. If you click on that link right there, you arrive at a page that looks like this, and this is WordPress's, WordPress.org's documentation that shows you, kind of what's going on with the new build, what's new in the dashboard, what's new in the posts, what's new in the meeting. I suggest that you read this because it's very interesting, and you'll be able to see what changes were made without having to go through your own WordPress installations kind of step by step. You can see everything right here on one page, which is pretty cool. It tells you all the different functions that were updated or modified, filter scripts. Also, you'll find out what was deprecated, meaning what's no longer, quote unquote, the WordPress way. So that's very interesting to look at. But what I would do is I would just click the button that says please update now, and then it's kind of like Windows, right? Are you really sure you want to do that? So an updated version of WordPress is available. You can update to WordPress 3.5 automatically or download the package and install it manually. So we're going to hit update now. Notice that I have not deactivated or disabled my plugins because I made a backup. So I'm going to click update now. If you want to be completely safe, you would go ahead and deactivate your plugins. So I click the button, and it gives you a list of what's going on. And welcome to WordPress 3.5. Again, it gives you another kind of who worked on it and basically what you can do with it. All right? So that's done. If we go back to the dashboard, you'll still see that we have 3 updates. We have an update to the plugin and an update to those 2 themes. So we can do those as well. All right? So we did our update through the WordPress dashboard. Now, what happens if something goes wrong? So you have 2 options. Number 1 is you could pray, do lots of praying. I used to do that before I used WP Twin and Backup Buddy. But rest assured that if you made a good backup and you tested it before you made the update, your backup's going to work and it's going to save your bacon every time. Okay. However, there are a few times where you'll notice that your website is mostly working, but something's broke. Like, for example, maybe you didn't check your plugins to see if they were compatible with 3.5. You'll find that you get errors And when you look at the error line, it points you specifically to which plugin is causing the problem. What you can do is you can go into the WordPress dashboard under plugins. And if I had a lot of plugins here, it would be easier to show you, but I could simply deactivate that plugin and see if that problem went away. If that problem went away, now I have an option, or I have two options. I could either not use that plugin and just do without, or I could find an alternative. The nice thing about WordPress and WordPress plugins is there are always multiple, well, I shouldn't say always, but there are oftentimes multiple plugins that accomplish or achieve the same objectives. So that's pretty cool. If something just goes awry and you can't even get into WordPress, before you restore from backup, what you can do is you can go to FTP and you can go to your plugins folder, which is in the WP-content folder right here. And you can right-click on that and rename it to something other than plugins. I usually do a-plugins and then hit enter. And when you do that, it in effect disables all of your plugins. And then you can see, okay, can I use WordPress now? Can I log into the dashboard? If you can, you will know that it's one of your plugins, or it could be multiple plugins. And then what you do is you just re-enable them one at a time. Then reload the page, make sure everything comes up. You know that plugin is good. If you re-enable the next plugin and your page doesn't come up, your dashboard doesn't come up, or your website doesn't render, you know it was that plugin. So disable that plugin. You might as well delete that plugin. You can wait for that plugin to be updated for this version of WordPress, or you could find an alternative that is compatible with 3.5. Now, themes once in a great while do cause problems, but they're easy to change. You change them basically in a similar fashion as plugins. You would just go get a different theme and activate that theme. And once you activate a theme, that deactivates the current theme that's causing you problems. And if your website then renders, you're good. You know it was the theme. All right. That makes sense? Okay. So in closing, make sure that if you did actually disable or deactivate your plugins before you made the update, make sure you re-enable them. You'll notice quite quickly that you forgot something because some of the, a lot of the functionality of your website that existed before doesn't exist now. But you'll also notice probably pretty quickly that you'll get a lot of comment spam because your Akismet plugin is disabled or deactivated. You'll get 100 or 200 spam comments right away when Akismet is not enabled. So you'll notice right away. So just make sure that you re-enable your plugins. And I would say that once your website is upgraded to 3.5 and everything is working fine, I would then suggest that you make another backup. Okay? The time to review all of your plugins, make sure that you're using them, make sure that they're doing what you want them to do, because every additional plugin that you have installed on WordPress tends to slow it down a bit. Not a lot. I mean, some are worse than others, but the less plugins you have enabled, the better, and the less upkeep you have to do on those plugins, and the less security vulnerabilities you have, because hackers use especially outdated plugins as vectors into your website to basically install malicious code or whatever. And one of the big problems with installing malicious code on your website, besides ruining your website and taking it down or putting graffiti up there or whatever, is your web host is probably going to shut you down because they don't want that malicious code to get to somebody else who visits your website. So they're going to shut you down, and then you have to go figure out, where's the problem? Where did the malicious code get installed? How do I uninstall it? And that's a topic for another discussion altogether. But the less plugins you have installed, the better. But I wouldn't suggest that you disable all of your plugins because they actually do add functionality to your WordPress site. So use only what you need. That's the bottom line. So it's 3:30. My goal was half an hour to 45 minutes. I think we've done that. These are some of my websites, not all, but I just wanted to alert you to this. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this presentation up on at least SlideShare, and I'll also email it to you if you signed up to my email list. You'll get that as well. And I'm going to throw in my mind map, which is right now my desktop background. I'll put that in there as well. And I would really love for you to sign up to my Facebook group. That would be really cool. This is the link. It's erds.co/FB coaching. It's free. It's full of really good internet marketers. I think you'll be able to learn a lot and maybe even contribute a lot. That would be really cool. And I also wanted to let you know that I will be doing these webinars every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific for the foreseeable future. And next week's webinar is going to be how to write an ebook in 3 simple steps. So that's it. I want to thank you for joining. If you have any questions, you can reach me at any of these websites, or you can, email me at bill.davis@internet-marketing-muscle.com, or you can find me on Facebook. Okay, I really appreciate you guys showing up. I will render this recording, and if barring technical glitches or user error, I will get that out to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.